watching all. Freedom's cage closing in. Voices clash in madness. Extremes on every path. In this cold steel kingdom, no light, no end in sight. Bound by chains of data, our souls lost in the night. Concrete blocks towering high, thoughts constricted by codes. Every side spewing lies, no escape, nowhere to hide. Beneath the synthetic skies, hollow eyes search for peace. In the streets of broken dreams, endless nights never cease. In this cold steel kingdom, no light, no end in sight. Bound by chains of data, our souls lost in the night. No escape. Truth that goes lost in fog. Screams echo in the deep. Digital eyes watching all. Freedom's cage closing in. Voices clash in madness. Extremes on every path. In this cold steel kingdom, no light, no end in sight. Bound by chains of data, our souls lost in the night. Concrete blocks towering high, thoughts constricted by codes. Every side spewing lies, no escape, nowhere to hide. Beneath the synthetic skies, hollow eyes search for peace. In the streets of broken dreams, endless nights never cease. In this cold steel kingdom, no light, no end in sight. Bound by chains of data, our souls lost in the night. No escape. Truth that goes lost in fog. Screams echo in the deep. Digital eyes watching all. Freedom's cage closing in. Voices clash in madness. Extremes on every path. In this cold steel kingdom, no light, no end in sight. Bound by chains of data, spewing lies. No escape, nowhere to hide. Beneath the synthetic skies, hollow eyes search for peace in the streets.
Alrighty. Oh my god. Technical issues, am I right? Got the pop-up of death and OBS saying that YouTube's not receiving enough bandwidth, and I was playing around with bandwidth settings trying to get things to function correctly, but decided fuck it, we'll just do it. So before I begin, my last video was taken down for content purposes because apparently the coverage of an individual lighting himself on fire as a form of protest is not appropriate, even though it's up on like CNN's YouTube page and all those. So you know, fuck me, right? But over here we have my Substack. If anybody is interested in the more reading-based ingestion of news and opinion, you can come to theredneckhipster.substack.com. Check out what I write. I update it pretty frequently. I've got fiction, poetry, and just kind of techie opinion stuff. Worth a look. Check it out. Subscribe. Get it directly to your inbox. Or don't. It's a free country. And with that, we shall begin the news with our first story, which is from the New York Post. McDonald's French fries supplier suddenly shutters factory. Slashes jobs as inflation stops customers from hitting up fast food chains. Yes, your McDonald's French fries are going to be a thing of the past. They will stop at nothing to take away any and everything that you love. And it is incredibly sad that that's the case. Yeah, what the fuck? Why is everything... I'm gonna start archiving these pages just to keep things running smoother, because this is like choppy as fuck. But a major McDonald's French fries supplier / jobs and abruptly closed factory as cash-strapped fast food customers downsize their meal or skip the side order completely amid inflated prices. To combat slowing sales, McDonald's... To combat slowing sales, the fast food giant launched a $5 meal deal this summer that includes McDouble, a chicken, 4-piece nugget, and small fries and a small drink. Rivals like BK and Wendy's offered similar deals, most of them coming with small fries. But the popularity of value meals has resulted in a drop of overall demand for fries, according to CEO, the largest producer of French fries in North America. Many of these promotional meals have consumers trading down for medium fry to small fry, said Tom Werner, whose company supplies around 80% of French fries sold at fast food joints in the U.S. Inflation-battered consumers, however, have pulled back sharply on spending at fast food restaurants, with many opting to cook at home. Yeah, because fucking who wants to pay $30 for a goddamn McDonald's? Like, this is dumb as hell. Dumb as fucking hell. Hold up. I'm gonna try fucking with the settings one last time, because it's still choppy as fuck. Just gonna add another 0 to that kilobits a pry. Okay. Mucho bettero? Perhaps? Still chilling around 51 kbps. What it should be. Holy fuck. YouTube, internet, get your shit together. Holy fuck. Aywa. Today. Dave's not here, man. Not connected now? What the fuck? I think what I will end up doing if this still fucks up is just pulling the stream of it and uploading it as video itself. Oh. That appears to be better. Who'd have fucking thought? Okay. Where were we? Those that do eat out have seen menu prices soar, especially in California. No shit. Thank you, Gavin Newsom, you fucking twat. After the state implemented a $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers on April 1st. McDonald's same-store U.S. sales dropped 0.7% last quarter compared to the same period a year earlier. Burger and Fries Company is Lamb Weston's largest customer. Trouble for the Golden Arches spells trouble for Lamb Weston. Though it also supplies higher-end restaurants and grocery chains or grocery stores, Lamb Weston relies heavily on its fast food business, and their shares have plunged nearly 35%. Oof. Ouch. Right in the booty hole. Announced that it was cutting 4% of global workforce and curtailing production lines following dismal earnings report. The Eagle, Idaho-based company closed a plant in Cornell, Washington on short notice, resulting in the loss of 375 jobs. Restaurant traffic and frozen potato demand relative to supply continue to be soft, and we believe it will remain soft through the remainder of fiscal 2025. Wow. Together, we expect these actions will help us better manage our factory utilization rates and ease some of the current supply-demand imbalance in North America. French fries supplier net sales declined 1% of its income from operations dropped 34%, and its net income plummeted 46% compared to the same period last year. And they did not respond to requests for comment. But comments say it all. Right there, man. We're told the economy is strong. They lowered interest rates for the election because of a strong economy. It's just like anybody seeing gas prices dipping right now. It's not because the economy's better. It's because they want to win. Anyway, next one is from the Hill. We got Pornstars launch campaign against Project 2025 targeting swing states. Which is fucking retarded, because Project 2025 is not anything. It's a document thought up by a think tank. It's not official Trump policy, it's not official anything policy, it's a suggestion. So to get pissed off about it is to project your own insecurities on it, which, I mean, I don't expect any different coming from the porn industry, because they're all about profiting off of insecurity. Concerned with provisions of Project 2025, the non-issue bullshit think tank piece that has nothing to do with any real policy that could criminalize pornography in their fantasy world, a group of porn stars is jumping onto the 2024 election, launching Hands Off My Porn and purchasing $100,000 in ads in swing states to spread their message. We must fight back against this ultra-conservative agenda that is rooted in religious conservatism, fear-mongering, and the suppression of women's rights. Casey Calvert, one of the porn stars involved with the effort, wrote alongside the announcement of the ads. I'm amazed she's literate to write to begin with. And also, suppression of women's rights. Is getting gangbanged by 15 dudes and having a bunch of jizz all over your face considered empowering? Whatever floats your boat, I guess. 20 porn stars came together to found Hands Off My Porn, and they are placing ads on the sites that show explicit content in Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Michigan. Warning users about Project 2025's drive to criminalize porn. Cool. Retards. The ads will direct people to Hands Off My Porn website where they can watch testimonials about 2025's dangers, but not actually get any facts because, again, this is not an official policy position. It is not official legislative calendar or anything like that. It's complete bullshit. The 180-day playbook for the next Trump administration. It's not. Lie. It is straight up lie. Puts the anti-porn agenda front and center on page 5 of this nearly 1,000-page document endorsed by the Heritage Foundation. No, not endorsed by them, created by them. American Legislative Exchange Council and the Koch brothers, and hundreds of conservative organizations, but not the Trump administration, which is the important one. Hands Off My Porn is referencing a foreword written by the Heritage Foundation president Kevin Roberts, who calls for pornography to be outlawed. I think it was more requiring some kind of age verification, not just a yes, I'm 18 when you go to the site, which is reasonable. It has no claim to First Amendment protection. He writes, purveyors of child predators, misogynistic exploiters of women. Okay, that's a little extreme. Their product is addictive as any illicit drug, who cares? And as psychologically destructive as any crime. Debatable. Pornography should be outlawed? No, it should not. The people who produce it and distribute it should be in prison? No, they should not. Telecommunications and technology firms that facilitate the spread of it should be shuttered. No. According to the National Coalition Against Censorship, the Supreme Court has found that people have the right to produce and consume pornography as long as it does not include underage minors. Per researchers at BYU, 69% of men and 40% of women in the US view porn every year. Wonder how many view it every day. Trump has distanced himself from Project 2025, saying he has nothing to do with it. It's this right here. Way to just invalidate. I mean, you included it, so props to you for that, but to follow it up with, however, many of the authors of it are former Trump appointees or allies, and it's like, okay, so does that mean that if somebody I know or somebody who used to work for me goes out and murders somebody, that now all of a sudden I support murder? No. They're allowed to have their own opinions. They're allowed to have their own jobs. Trump himself has said it's not a... It's... These people are fucking stupid as shit. I swear to God. The level of fucking brain rot, brain lit, retardation, window licking, stupid motherfucker that you have to be at to think that... It's like the abortion thing. He says, no national ban. I will not sign a national ban. But it's not going to even come to that because the states are going to be the ones to do it. And then the media runs with, Trump supports a national ban on abortion. It's like, in what fucking universe? Woosah. Democrats have turned the document into a cudgel against Trump and Republicans, and it has been at the center of many attacks on Trump and congressional Republicans in their final sprint before the election. Because, again, reading comprehension is just poof, gone. No longer a thing that exists. Bush appears to be working with 70 to 80% of Americans saying they have heard of Project 2025, and the overwhelming majority of those who have heard it disapprove of what the blueprint calls for. I like how you get the numbers here, but you don't include the numbers here. Some Democrats like Dipshit, co-founder of Dipshit, believe that Vice President Harris and Democrats should spend more time talking about Project 2025's push to ban porn. Sure, go right ahead. One of the most insane parts of it is their anti-sex agenda is to drive the criminalized porn. Democrats should be talking to young men about this. Why, you want everybody to be just a bunch of fucking low-T coomers? Okay. Democrats should be asking young men, do you want the government to look at your search history? Fuck no. Nobody does. But not because of that. They should be asking, do you want to be put in jail for consuming porn? These people think that they live in, like, the level of persecution complex that these retards have. Swear to God. According to Plank, Democrats must improve their outreach to younger men in the run-up to the election. Nobody's voting for Harris. But yeah, it's here. Let's just... We'll go to Wikipedia. Or .org, I guess, huh? Infecto. Okay. Love how it's got Project 2025 redirects here. Not to be confused with Donald Trump's package of proposals, Agenda 47. 2025 is a political initiative pushed by conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation. It aims to promote conservative and right-wing policies to shape blah blah blah, under the premise that Donald Trump wins the 2024 election. It is not part of his thing, and let's see where it is. Who owns it? Let's see. Although Project 2025 cannot legally promote a presidential candidate without endangering its 501c3 tax-exempt status, many contributors are associated with Trump and his campaign. Heritage Foundation employs many people closely aligned with him, but it does not... this is the part that people just seem to not be able to comprehend, is that proximity does not mean support or anything like that. Trump campaign officials have had regular contact with Project 2025 and told Politico in 2023 that the project aligned well with their Agenda 47 program, but it did not mirror it. So they've said the project does not speak for Trump or his campaign. 2024, Trump said he knew nothing of it. Some of the things it says are absolutely ridiculous or abysmal. Critics dismiss his claims, pointing to various people close to him who helped draft it, and many contributors are expected to get leadership roles. Again, it does not... I swear to God, these people just don't understand how reality works. I think it's just as simple as that. On to the next one before I get pissed off. Supreme Court justices appear likely to keep Biden's limits on ghost guns. First time in a long time I've been disappointed by the Supreme Court. Off, you stupid. Fuck off. I swear to God, these new websites are fucking cancer. Several conservative Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical of a challenge to the Biden administration rule requiring untraceable ghost guns to be regulated like regular firearms during oral arguments. Plaintiffs in the case known as Garfield versus Vanderstock hope to overturn 2022 regulation from the Bureau of Nobody's Allowed to Have Any Fun targeting ghost guns. These guns can be assembled at home from kits with minimal tooling. Nice misrepresentation on that. If you've ever milled a fucking lower, it's not as easy as you might think. Under the new ATF rule, they need to meet the same background check and record-keeping requirements as gun bought from a store. Yeah, and see, the problem with that is the kits that they don't tell you is a jig and a block of aluminum. So now to buy a block of aluminum and to basically get a pattern, you have to get a background check. Well, okay, by that logic, every time you go to the hardware store and buy any kind of PVC pipe or anything that can be used to contain a large exothermic reaction, you have to have a background check. Because, you know, you might build something dangerous out of them. This does not compute. Like, this is not reasonable. This is not intelligent. This is not anything resembling logic. If the court now says that the undrilled hole is enough to prevent regulation, it's going to be a sea change. Some lady who has no fucking clue what she's talking about says, going forward, all guns could become ghost guns. What? That statement right there demonstrates a complete lack of understanding what the terms being used are. A ghost gun is literally just a gun that you make at home that doesn't have a serial number. It's not purchased in a store. It's not... so you don't go through the typical channels for it. Literally, anybody can do this, and regardless of regulation, you will still be able to do it. I think there was a dude in the Brit Bongistan that made a submachine gun out of parts available at a hardware store. There's manuals to do this online. I'm not encouraging anybody to go look for them, but they are out there. Number of ghost guns received at crime scene spiked by more than 1,000% over a 5-year period. Well, yeah, because it became more of a thing to do. You start putting... This is the part that they don't seem to understand. You make things illegal. You restrict firearm access to just any and everybody. People look for alternatives. When they find the alternatives, of course, you're going to find more examples of the alternatives as they become more appealing to the criminal element. My ghost gun in my safe, right over there, has never shot anybody, never been pointed at anybody. And so it's not the gun. I can tell you that much. Identical in form and function to normal firearms. Yes, because the definition just means they don't have a fucking serial number, you retard. People could freely buy home-assembled ghost gun kits online, raising concerns, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. Yeah, like, you can print a Glock with a 3D printer. It's... My little brother's carry gun for a long time was a 3D printed, I think it was a 3D printed Glock. ATF rule did not ban ghost guns, though some states have more tightly restricted them, and wow, look at that, imagine that, they still exploded 1,000% even after the states restricted them. It's almost like criminals don't follow the law. ATF requires sellers and manufacturers to follow the same serialization and background rules check mandated by the Gun Control Act of 1968, which is a racist piece of legislation targeted at the growing Black Panther movement to reduce their ability to get their hands on firearms. Look it up. LBJ was a fucking racist. The rule also altered the definitions for the parts of guns that house its firing mechanism, called the frame for pistols or receiver for long guns. ATF regulates those parts as if they're the gun themselves. Interesting stuff about those too that I'm not going to get into, but some companies were selling incomplete firearm frames and receivers as if they were unregulated parts because they needed a small amount of tooling to work. But these kits usually required a buyer to drill only a few holes or remove small bits of plastic to make them operate. Really quick. To better understand what retardation is going on here. Okay, this is an AR-15 lower. This is the part that the ATF serializes. From this view, you see how you got this part right here? It's all open and milled out on an 80% lower. This portion right here is still all the same as this, meaning this is solid aluminum right through here, and you have to drill that hole, that hole, that hole, that hole through it at precise, I mean, it requires a drill press to do that. And then to clear out all of this, typically you use a mill. You can use a drill press, although it always gets chattery and nasty and ends up looking stupid. You might get something functional, but it's not as easy as they make you think it is. Even though 3D printed lowers and stuff, and 3D printed lowers end up breaking like right back here around the buffer tube because of the impulse of this recoil. So clearly these assholes don't know anything that they're talking about. Only drill a few holes or remove small bits of plastic. Try aluminum. Case does not raise Second Amendment issues. It turns on narrow questions of separation of powers. Plaintiffs, paratexans who aspired to buy home-assembled weapons kits, plus several companies that produce the kits, accuse the ATF of stepping outside agency's legal authority by reclassifying mostly complete, readily convertible weapons kits and receivers as traditional firearms. Well, yeah, no, I mean, it is stepping outside of their agency because, as you can see with the example I brought up, there's literally no difference between a block of billet aluminum and an 80% lower as far as when you buy them. Debate focused largely on the question of whether or not the ATF had the authority to redefine the terms, which they don't because they don't have legislative power, and those are legislative legal terms. Especially now under, now that, what's it called? Chevron has been overturned. Long history of interpreting near-complete firearms as if they were complete to avoid would-be buyers to circumvent the law. ATF's just a bunch of bullshit. If the founders were alive today and heard a reference to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, that would probably just make them ask why we weren't stacking things like cordwood. In a free country, the ATF should be a store on the corner in every neighborhood, not the government agency. Receiver for an AR-15 can be converted into a machine gun by drilling a hole in it. Not quite. It's a lot more difficult than that. Traditional rifle can be converted to a more heavily regulated short-barreled rifle in minutes with a hacksaw. Yeah, if you don't want the thing to cycle, because you're gonna cut the fucking gas return, like, you're gonna cut... I really wish that people would just do even the slightest fucking bit of research before they start saying stupid shit like that. It could wreak havoc with firearms laws. Well, maybe we should just get rid of the laws then. How about that, huh? Murder's still illegal. Like, shall not be infringed is pretty fucking clear, dude. Government dismisses complaints, arguing that the ATF does not view completed functional frames or receivers, including those installed in working firearms, as readily convertible to something else. They're not. ATF is trying to hide the ball here. There was a very serious public safety threat. Ghost gun rule to survive. Government would likely need at least 2 conservative justices to hold it. Probably Roberts and... I'm gonna guess Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett probably do. Or it's 3 liberal judges, Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't know what a woman is, and Elena Kagan, have routinely ruled in favor of gun restrictions in Reese's cases because they are women, and I'm not gonna say anything mean. Chief Justice John Roberts appeared skeptical when Patterson said that the target market for these home-assembled gun kits is tinkerers who enjoy the building process like someone who spends their weekends restoring old cars. Yeah, that's kind of what I am. Drilling a hole or two doesn't give the same sort of reward that you get from working on a car on the weekend. Who the fuck are you to judge? Patterson objected, citing news report that described how incompetent buyers struggled to put a weapons kit together and eventually asked a gunsmith to do it instead. It's not a trivial process. They have small parts. Roberts is an idiot. Someone goes through the process of drilling a few holes and taking the plastic out. He wouldn't think he had built a gun, would he? I don't know what that has to do with fucking anything. Patterson said that yes, a guy with a drill would have built the gun. Alito raised a similar objection, describing hypothetical case in which someone restoring an old car might remove the engine. If the neighbor asked the person what they were working on, he might call it a 57 Thunderbird, even though it can't be driven. Tedious debate over hypothetical analogies, blah, 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 readily convertible. Dude, how much... okay. Let's see. Alito asked whether having a notepad and pen constituted a grocery list. Counted that pen and paper can be used for lots of things, but an almost finished frame or receiver can only become a finished frame or receiver. That's not true. It can become a doorstop or a paperweight, too. Would eggs, chopped ham, and pepper, Alito wondered, count as a Western omelet? Does a zygote after the first trimester count as a baby? Just spitballing here. That's what this is. This whole article is an ad for HelloFresh. Wow. Oh wow, and look at that, I called it. Amy Coney Barrett. The ATF insisted on trying to set a standard for a complete frame or receiver based on language passed by Congress, like they are supposed to. It would use the critical machining test the agency has used in some cases in the past. Under that standard, partially completed frames and receivers would still escape regulation as long as the buyer had to drill at least one hole. That, he said, would prevent the AR-15 from being regulated as readily convertible to machine guns. Barrett was apparently unconvinced, noting that the machining test doesn't actually appear in existing law. It seems a little made up, right? Best market serves gun enthusiasts who customize their own firearms, but this dude noted that no major firearms producer have joined the lawsuit as plaintiffs because they continue to follow existing laws regulating blah, blah, blah. This whole thing just pissed me off. The reason you want a ghost gun is because it can't be traced. I mean, it's one reason. The reason you want a VPN is so you can look at CP, right? Or maybe you want to watch something that's not available in your country on Netflix. Like, yeah, you can always assume bad intent, but the legal system is predicated on the idea of innocent until proven guilty. So, get fucked. Same shit, different toilet right here. Harris tells The View there's not a single thing she would have done different than Joe Biden. Harris tied herself to Biden during an interview with The View, saying she wouldn't have done anything differently than the 81-year-old. Harris continued on with her friendly media tour on Tuesday, which includes an interview with Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy, The View, Late Show with Colbert, Howard Stern Show, Vice President joining The View nearly 2 weeks after Biden discussed the border crisis, her opponent's lack of distance from Biden. If anything, would you have done something differently than Biden during the past 4 years? There's not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of, that should be a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. The work we have done, for example, capping the cost of insulin, that, fuck you! That was a Trump executive order that Biden rescinded on day one, and y'all fucking reinstituted for easy fucking clout. Fuck you. It applied to everybody when Trump had done it, not just seniors, you fucking twat. Something I care deeply about. No, you don't. About allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices to bring the cost of prescription medication down for seniors, but my intention is expand it for all Americans. Well, if you would have left the initial EO that Trump had signed in place, it would have. Fucking cunt. The work we have done to invest in American industries, whether it be in terms of manufacturing, creating almost 800,000 new jobs around manufacturing, those were all shared priority. Okay. They don't count as new jobs when they're jobs that came back when the COVID restrictions were lifted. That were largely enforced by left-leaning governors. So, fuck you. Early in Harris's short campaign, BP began plotting to distance herself from Biden just days after White House called the duo critical partners, anonymous advisors told Axios. Harris later was asked to explain, given her running mate and his criminal conviction, people still expected to be close. Wait. Tim Walz has a criminal conviction? And then Vice President rattled off the names of Republicans who've endorsed her, detailed January 6th, but not the Summer of Love. We don't care that Cheney endorses her or any of the old Bushites because we don't like them. Core about this is practical solution, common sense solutions. That's why you're copying Trump's homework. And anytime you see the word bipartisan, that's both sides trying to fuck you. I plan on having a Republican in my candidate, or in my cabinet. That's funny. Token Republican. Cute. Difference between Joe Biden and Kamala. I'll give you one guess. One of the differences, I'm going to have a Republican because I don't feel burdened by letting pride get in the way of a good idea. Fuck you. Vice President was also asked to recount the moment where Biden called her and told her he would be dropping out of the race and endorsing her for president. She was grilled on 60 Minutes, which that interview was beautiful. Question about the economy, the border, why voters still feel like they don't know the vice president because she flippity floppity like Mitt Romney, who happened to endorse her, probably why he endorsed her. But yeah, it's the same song and dance. The whole thing with moral relativists and people who are on that side of issues is that they don't have any consistency. They don't pin themselves down with definitions. They don't hold themselves to standards. There's a reason the saying goes that if it weren't for double standards, the left would have no standards at all. And then the last one, also about guns. Gun activists say they are aiming to put Massachusetts gun law repeal on the 2026 ballot. So midterms shaping up to be fun already. Massachusetts gun advocates announced Tuesday that they have gathered enough signatures to place a question on the 2026 ballot that would repeal a sweeping new gun law that cracks down on privately made unserialized ghost guns, criminalizes possessions of bump stocks and trigger cranks, and requires applicants for a gun license to complete live fire training. Which, you know, you can't require any kind of poll test for people to vote, which voting isn't even a right enshrined in the Constitution. But you can do all that shit about firearms which are protected under the Constitution quite explicitly. Law also expands the state's red flag law to let police as well as healthcare and school officials alert the courts if they believe someone with access to a gun poses a danger and should have their firearms taken away without due process, at least temporarily. Supporters of the repeal effort said that they have collected at least 90,000 signatures, more than enough to put the new law before voters. One of the leaders of the repeal effort, Toby Leary, said the new law was aimed at harming the rights of lawful citizens and not reducing crime or getting guns off the street. Yeah, because it's words on paper, and yeah, it can be used to put people in jail if they're being bad. It can be, but so can whatever they're doing that's already illegal with the gun. If you're robbing a store, gun or not, that's against the law. Having a gun for it, sure, okay, maybe makes it a little more convincing that you're actually going to do something. But ultimately, the gun itself is a tool. Could be just as well an axe or a pipe bomb. The end result is the same, and I'm all for throwing the book at people or having laws that detail commissions of other crimes, commissions of felonious activity while in possession of a firearm. I'm all for that being like a sentence enhancer. Like, if you're out robbing, raping, murdering, whatever, and you have a firearm and you use a gun to do it, or it's found on your person or in your possession while you were in the commission of the crime, then yeah, sure, fucking double their sentence. I'm all for that. But don't come after people who mind their own business and aren't causing trouble just because they have something. Like, case in point, you outlaw ghost guns. If I have one and I go to the range to go shoot because I enjoy shooting, I have not committed a crime. I have not victimized anyone. And you can't even begin to make the case that I had any intent to victimize anyone by simply having it. But I get pulled over on the way to the shooting range with a ghost gun in my possession, and that would be, I think it's a felony in California, even though nobody's been harmed. Nobody's been deprived of their life, liberty, property, no damage to property, nobody's been defrauded. All that is, the only victim there at that point is me at the hands of the state. That's what I have a problem with. This is something that is aimed at all of our civil rights. Sid Leary, president and co-founder of a gun shop and shooting range in Hyannis. If they can do this to the Second Amendment, they can do this to any other right, and he's absolutely right about that. Advocates that were particularly upset with the action taken by Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey last week immediately implement the new law. Action frustrated efforts by gun rights activists who'd hoped to gather enough signatures to suspend it before it took effect. Leary called the decision an effort to suppress the rights, a right that is enshrined in our Bill of Rights. 100%. That should never be allowed. Absolutely, 100% agreed. Of course, Healey defended the action. This gun safety law bans ghost guns, strengthens red flag laws, to keep guns out of the hands of people who are a danger to themselves or others without due process, and invests in violence prevention programs. It is important that these measures go into effect without delay. No, that's bullshit. You have to use due process. You cannot deny somebody their right to speak freely without first exercising due process. You have to show what they are doing is damaging, how what they're doing is criminal. You have to, like, the problem with red flag orders is just the nature of the actual concept. I like it in theory. I like the idea that people would be concerned enough to intervene when somebody's not having a good time. But the problem is that they can be misused. The hearings are non-adversarial. There's no chance to present a defense before any enforcement goes in, and then they come kick your door down and take your guns. Like, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. Larry said the group raised about $100,000, said the largest donation came from Smith & Wesson. Company opened its new Tennessee HQ after moving from its longtime home in Massachusetts. Law enacted in part of response to Supreme Court's 2022 Bruin decision declaring citizens have a right to carry firearms in public for self-defense. I don't think it actually specified what the purpose was. I think it was just you have the right, period. A federal lawsuit, also filed by gun advocates, argues that Massachusetts law is unconstitutional, characterizing it as onerous firearms legislation that imposes sweeping arms bans, magazine restrictions, registration requirements, and licensing preconditions that are burdensome as they are ahistorical. Lawsuit, which cites the Bruin decision, asks the federal court to issue a temporary restraining order or preliminary injunction barring the state from enforcing the licensing regimes on the possession and carry of firearms for self-defense. Massachusetts law also prevents people who aren't part of law enforcement from carrying guns at schools, polling locations, and government buildings. It requires those applying for a license to carry firearms to demonstrate basic understanding of safety principles and provides local licensing authorities with relevant mental health information. DAs would be able to prosecute people who shoot at or near homes, which also seeks to ensure people subject to restraining orders no longer have access to guns. Also expands the definition of assault weapons to include known assault weapons and any weapons that function like them. It bans the possession, transfer, sale of assault-style firearms or large-capacity feeding devices. That's dumb. Because they define large capacity as standard capacity, as what is accepted as standard capacity, and assault weapons. Assault is a verb. Assault is an action. Any weapon can be an assault weapon. This fucking mug, this cup right here, could be an assault weapon if I assaulted somebody with it. It would be a weapon which I have assaulted somebody with. Ergo, an assault weapon. Go fuck yourselves. Kindly. Quick weather recap, and then I will end the stream. So first up we have Spaceweather. And we saw some really cool auroras earlier. We've got a sun-diving comet that's going to be passing between Earth and the sun on SDO, and it is beautiful. Look at that CME full halo eruption. First one was a powerful X2, so that's the third one in the span of a week. Luckily, it was not really directed, but it's not directly Earth-directed. It's just tangentially or radially Earth-directed. And then we'll look at the Doppler and the wind. And so here wir haben eine... Oh, here's our Doppler radar. Got Florida getting a little bit of rain. Wonder what that's from. Some scattered moisture over the southwest. New York's looking a little wet. North Carolina's left out to dry. Alright, and then here you got Milton, back up to Cat 5, right there. Really funny. Author of Paradise Lost, Milton. And then not a whole lot over the rest of the country. If we go up to our jet stream, see, starting to even out from the equinox, and then it'll get up into the polar region. Then this will start to act all kinds of funny down there. as we go to summer in the southern hemisphere. Mesospheric wind patterns. Big old low over the northeast of the continent. Get a bit of a low over there. But yeah, that's about that. And on that, I'm gonna end that. It's been real. It's been fun. Not sure if it's been real fun, but that's all. Have a good one.